Good evening and welcome inside Laura's Bar and Grill in Smithfield. This is the Bryant Football Coaches Show presented by Laura's Bar and Grill. Tristan Hobbes along with the head coach of the Bryant Bulldog football team, James Perry. Coach, the Bulldogs coming off a tough loss at Sacred Heart on Saturday. Final score of 49-26 on a day that was tough for everybody in New England to play football on. 40 degrees, heavy winds, rain. Just start with your overall thoughts after a day to mull it over of Saturday's game.
Yeah, I mean, we played a very good football team. They played very well. You got to give them a lot of credit, in particular, running the football just in a very tough conditions. And so I think that, the guys yesterday, we watched and learned from it. It's, it's hard when you play a rival, a team that you want to desperately win against, a team that you practiced hard to prepare for, and you don't do what you want to do. But the kids bounced back well yesterday, and we'll have another great test in front of us, so we don't have much time to, kind of stew in it.
You talked about the running game on Saturday, both teams with big rushing performances. Your team, a season-high 256 yards on the ground. Saturday really lent itself to a run game, only I think it was maybe 10 completed passes all day long. You don't rarely see that in football.
Yeah, no, you should. Not nowadays, right?
Not nowadays.
We pride ourselves tremendously on playing fast, being a wide open team, and Price is actually a guy who can really generate velocity, which in normal weather conditions, I think he can handle really well because he does throw the ball so well. Those were not normal conditions. I thought the offensive line worked hard to adjust to some very difficult boxes to run the ball against. The running backs ran really hard. So there's some good stuff to build off of. There's a lot to correct, but there was some good stuff to build off of.
Coach, you have a pretty extensive playbook offensively. You go into Saturday, how much does the weather affect, and how much did it affect kind of what both teams did? I mean, obviously, your defensive coaches had an idea of what Sacred Heart can do, and then all of a sudden, I'm sure both offenses changed up a little bit of what they were going to do on Saturday.
Yeah, no, and for us, I think what's important is when you're learning from a loss like that, we were running into some boxes we don't run into. Just the modern football, the way we stretch the field, we just don't run into those boxes, and we were. You just had to, and I thought the kids tried to gut it out really well. But as you don't want to develop bad habits too, because this week and weeks moving forward, we're going to do some things differently than we had to do on Saturday. On the flip side of that coin, Coach Narvi's a very creative guy, and even though he was running the ball, exclusively running the ball on Saturday, he's really creative in how he does it, and he challenges you, and I think he did a good job of adapting to the situations, and then his players executed really well. So probably some things that aren't good carryovers, because we're going to play differently in conditions like that, but on the flip side of that, there's some things that we can learn from and get better about.
What was your message to the team after the game, as you said, obviously against a rival, tough on a day like that?
Yeah, for these guys, they're easy to coach. They're really a lot of fun to coach. I don't have to go berserk in the post game speech. I mean, they know how I know how badly they wanted it. They wanted it. We all got to make corrections. Coaches got to make corrections. They're going to make corrections, and we're going to be increasing our fitness level. Saturday wasn't a game to exhibit fitness level, which is what it is. We're trying to play fast, and that it just didn't lend itself to up-tempo or any of those things. But we'll be right back on track this week. Yesterday, the kids worked hard. Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll be back at it, trying to make sure at the end of the year we're in the best shape we can possibly be. And, I was very pleased at how the kids responded, both in the locker room, tough, hard loss, and then Sunday.
And, Coach, as we wrap up our general discussion of Saturday's game against Sacred Heart, was there something on film that you've seen in the last 24 hours that you were really pleased about, that you was, we did that really well on Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably the thing, and that was a big part of Sunday's actually how we talked, is all week long, special teams-wise, we were talking about being opportunistic. And, things aren't really going our way. We block a kick, we scoop it and score. Be opportunistic. Don't just block it. Block the kick, scoop it and score. We kick the ball off. Gene made a really headsy play. Gavin's quite good at that, but that ball really just trickled over 10. And it was fun to see Gene kind of wait for it before he jumped on it. It would have been a penalty had he jumped on it at 9. And that was a really headsy play. And then when we punt the ball, we put that thing on the 1.
Probably the half-yard line.
Yeah, it was really a headsy play, too, because in college football, you can put your body in the end zone. And it's exactly what we teach. And Coach Jackson, takes a lot of pride in that. But to see kind of opportunistic special teams play on Saturday, I think is real positive, something that we can build off of. And we need to, because we're always trying to be opportunistic. So it's not like you're on the punt block team to get the ball back to the offense. You're trying to score, too. So it was nice to see him do that.
Bulldogs falling to Sacred Heart on Saturday. They are back on the road this weekend out to Loretto, Pennsylvania to take on St. Francis University, the Red Flash. We'll talk about the Red Flash later on the show. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about some of the individual performances from Saturday's game down in Connecticut. This is the Bryant Football Coaches Show presented by Laura's Bar and Grill in Smithfield.
You want football? We got a lot of it. NEC Front Row will carry more than 30 live games during the 2017 season and will provide plenty of pigskin coverage in between. Prepare for the week's list of games by watching the whole 9 yards. Then on Tuesdays, revisit the top eye-popping plays with the NEC Football Super 7 Countdown. Get to necfrontrow.com and enjoy your front row seat to the 2017 Northeast Conference football season.
Welcome back inside Laura's Bar and Grill in Smithfield. This is the Bryant Football Coaches Show. Tristan Hobbes, head coach James Perry. Before we get back into the Sacred Heart game, a little bit topical, Coach. The Red Sox winning their 4th World Championship in the last 14 years. You're more of a Celtics guy than a Red Sox guy, but nonetheless, 119 wins in a season is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's like you're just watching them all year. You hope a team that plays that well all year plays the same way in the postseason. It's almost like they kept getting better. So, yeah, that was a great win. I'm a Boston guy, so, yeah, absolutely.
The Red Sox winning in 5 games over the Dodgers. It was great. If it was the Celtics-Lakers, I think you'd be a little bit more thrilled, huh?
Yeah, well, it might be. We can. Boston might do a clean sweep this year.
The Bulldogs took on Sacred Heart on Saturday. The big thing from that game, Thomas Costigan became Bryant's all-time leading tackler. 256 career tackles. He had 12 of them on Saturday, passing Marquise Watson. He actually passed probably 3 of the best defensive players in program history on Saturday. Jason Reif, Pat Kenny, and Marquise Watson all in one game to take over the sole spot. A really impressive career for Tom Costigan, and it's really a joy to be able to watch him play every Saturday.
Yeah, it's fun, and I've said this many times about him. It's always fun when your best player, I think a guy will go on and play professionally, is your captain. And, it just makes my job so much easier. And the leadership that he shows in addition to, stellar performance is incredible. And really, when you watch the film, one of the things that's neat about him is there are many plays where I think we can track the ball a little better, where we can do some things. We're talking about some adjustments yesterday about how we, track the ball across the field. And you can always point to Tom. He's always running. Even if he's on the other side of the play, he's going 100 miles an hour, 100% every single play. So it's nice when the record holder and what now is an all-time great for the program is also your captain and a good role model for the rest of the guys. So, I'm very proud of him.
What is it about Tom? I know that you get to go against him in practice all August and then times during the week. What is the biggest thing for you that you think that maybe sets him apart from other linebackers in our league in the country.
Yeah. He's just so long. Just stand next to him. His arms are so long. He can cover ground. His strides are so great. And then when you complement all that physical gifts with this high intensity level, it's fun. It's fun to watch. And, I expect him to keep getting better. Part of that ethic that he shows is what he showed yesterday in our conditioning, is what late in the season he'll just keep getting stronger, and we believe in that firmly. So I expect him to, not rest on his laurels, to come out and have his best game of his career this Saturday against St. Francis.
Another guy, Jesse Nemerowitz, went over the 200 career tackle mark, becoming the 12th in program history, so he's right on Tom's heels. And Jesse's still obviously another full year of eligibility to go, a guy that is actually fifth among current FCS players in tackles per game in a career, 8.5 per game. He always seems to be in the right spot at the right time and lays a good hit on somebody.
Yeah, and I think he is another guy who takes a lot of pride in his craft, and I think it's helpful for him that he gets to play alongside Tom, and kind of set the bar that way and have something to reach and strive for. And you mentioned some of the great players who played here, Marquise and Pat and so forth, and it's fun when the two guys are standing next to each other. And over the years, I've had a chance to have that exact thing. Coach two players of the year who are standing right next to each other, and that certainly makes your life a lot easier, and it makes the younger guy strive to get better. So
the Bulldogs took on Sacred Heart this past weekend offensively, 256 yards on the ground. Bryant, back-to-back 200-yard rushing games, first time since 2014. Coach, you're getting the yards. You're starting to get efficiency. You're starting to get really good chunks of yardage multiple times during the game. That must make you proud of kind of where you guys have been able to come from and build each week.
Yeah, and I think part of what's fun for me to see, because we talk about being this big locker room, the strength in numbers, is that these are guys who at this point in the season cumulatively don't have a quadrillion carries. You know what I mean? Like, these are guys who've split the carries up and are getting stronger. And as some of the other opponents start to wear down and cumulatively this season has an effect, I think Brendan's the strongest he's been on the season right now. I think Alfred is the strongest he's been. And, we got Daniel Adeboye is, getting stronger. And that's kind of the model that we try to do. And it's nice to see Brendan keep taking steps. And it's nice to see Alfred to do the same. And this week we'll have a great test against a terrific defense, and both of them are going to have to take another step. So we'll practice hard Tuesday and Wednesday to make sure that happens.
Brendan Femiano jumping into the top 10 all-time in rushing yards, over 1,300 yards, a career high over 575 this season on the ground, 133 of them on Saturday. What, as a coach, have you seen be the biggest step that Brendan has taken from last year to this year to kind of be having the season he's having?
Sure. I mean, well, when Brendan's healthy, he practices hard. He's a great worker. He's an easy-to-coach kid. So, he's just been out there all season for us. And he, very predictably to me, somebody who demonstrates that ethic now over this, quantity of time is playing really, really well. He's playing his best football. And, it's fun for me to watch that happen, and I think even young guys see here's a guy who's played a lot of football for us, but he's practicing really well, and it's translating into really good performances. So we'll get another good week out of him, I have no doubt, and he'll be ready to go against St. Francis.
Tough day to pass the ball on Saturday at Sacred Heart. One completion that was caught, a touchdown pass, Bryce Wilson to Andrew Schultz. His first career catch is his first career touchdown. Good to see Andrew get back in there. He was a little bit banged up. Get back in there, be healthy, and make a contribution.
Yep. Yeah, and he was hungry when he was hurt. No one rehabbed harder. He really wanted to get back into the game and get back playing. And actually, we had him kind of in the rotation even before Declan got hurt. He was already kind of in the rotation because of he wanted to get out there so badly. So that was nice. And on a day when it was really hard to throw the football, Price was making some really good decisions. And it was a hard day to catch the football, too. I mean, it was just passing game was going to be a really tough deal. But, each week he makes better decisions. And down the goal line there, I think we just have a lot of confidence to keep throwing the football and having him, putting him in that position because – and we need him to do that, and he delivered, so that was nice.
Pretty cool this year. David Zarilla, his first career catch in the opening game was a touchdown against New Haven, and now Andrew Schultz, his first career catch is a touchdown against Sacred Heart. Coach, do you remember your first touchdown pass or run when you were down at Brown?
The first one.
The first one.
Funny. I do, actually. But,
Well, who was it against?
It was at the elbow. That's
okay.
Funny, yep. Yeah, I threw a post at the elbow.
As a freshman?
Of course, my theory was at the time, which I'm trying to impart onto this offense, is I used to tell Sean Morey, who had a fabulous 10-year NFL career, that my goal was to throw short passes for long touchdowns. So most of those were these little wide receiver screens that went for another 70. So gets in the books as a 75-yard touchdown pass.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's always nice. And I think Price and all the other guys that have coached, we all share that in common. We all like the short pass to Tom Kennedy that goes for another 70, get credited for 75, right? That's all. I'm sure Andrew will remember it. He, it's nice to see guys do that. I think, collectively, we know we got to get better, but they're fun to coach. I mean, you're bringing up a lot of these guys who, to me, it just makes me excited to get out there and practice tomorrow because I know Andrew's going to be pumped to practice. We took the loss hard. Tough game for us that way, but we still love football. We'll still have an opportunity to get out and get better Tuesday and Wednesday this week.
Bulldogs taking on St. Francis this weekend out in Loretto. We'll take a final break, come back, talk about this Saturday's game here on the Bryant Football Coaches Show presented by Laura's Bar and Grill. Welcome back inside Laura's Bar and Grill in Smithfield. This is the Bryant Football Coaches Show. Tristan Hobbes, head coach James Perry. Bryant getting set to take on the St. Francis Red Flash this weekend out in Loretto. Hopefully not having to deal with much weather, but you will have to deal with another very physical football team. St. Francis at 3-5 overall. They are 1-2 in Northeast Conference play. All 5 of their losses by a score or less. It's been one of those seasons for St. Francis where at the end of the games it just seems to not go their way, but a very good team record, very deceiving from what kind of team they are, Coach.
Yeah, that doesn't slow them down at all. This is a team that is full throttle all the time. Probably the most aggressive defense we'll play all year. Just extraordinarily passionate. The amount of blitzes, the amount of fronts is off the charts. You know, they have an amazing amount of sacks, like just mind-boggling. And then offensively, they're the same way. They're gonna press you all day. And you know, just a very, very well coached team. And I mean, I'm sure they hardly even know what their record is because the way how hard they play. And it'll be a great challenge. Tough place to play on the road. It'll be my first trip out there, and it's exciting because that's we want to play these teams. A couple of years ago, they're league champs, going to the tournament, all those things. So we want to keep getting better as a program. They beat us last year at our place. So yeah, it'll be a great game to see where we're at and see if how much better we're getting each week, and it'll be fun.
Coach, you talk when you say or describe the defense that they present. It seems a little bit daunting, but you're a guy. I feel like you like that challenge. You're excited about this week of game planning and seeing what you guys can put together for this.
Yeah, I think it's kind of probably similar mentalities. We're a creative bunch. We're always trying to look for ways to gain an edge. Just because it's unconventional, we're obviously willing to do it. That's probably well established. But they're the same way. They're very unconventional. They're not. They're willing to do things. So I think that's exactly right. I mean, I think what a great challenge to be able to do. Two terrific, people going at each other and players going at each other in very creative ways. So, last year. They beat us up pretty good, so it'll be interesting to see how the kids respond, and I'm looking forward to it.
You can speak the most to this offensively. When you game plan for a team that blitzes, brings a lot of pressure, does a lot of different things, is there a message of, hey guys, they're going to be on you, but you have to stay composed? What is the message to the team in that situation? Because knowing that there's going to be pressure, but not letting that affect how you do your job.
Yeah, and especially slow you down, right? So we're always talking about speed. So it's always how fast can you play, and one of the things that multiplicity will do is slow you down. Anytime you're thinking, for us we call it trusting our 3 dribbles. Then you're going to play slower. So we cannot allow that to happen. We have to play fast. We have to dictate the tempo of the game, and that's a great challenge because they're trying to dictate and we're trying to dictate. There's no counter punching on Saturday, so. That'll be fun. For me, it's the way the game should be played, so it'll be a good day.
And now, Coach, your team at 5-3, 2-2 in the Northeast Conference with 3 games remaining. Road game at St. Francis, home against Wagner, and then on the road at Howard. This has been a very good season and has a chance to end up being one of the best in program history. What is the focus for you and through the ranks now for this team as you approach the final 3 games of the season, getting yourselves prepared for what's to come?
Well, we're always looking to get better. So, these guys, they're hungry to get better and play more football. As a program, it's great to be part of a program that's just on the rise. And, it's fun to coach kids that are getting better, hungry to get better, kind of doing new things all the time, developing, a program, in concert with people who really, really support your guys like Bill Smith and President Makeley, who are really fully behind making us the best program in the FCS. So on our path to being the best program in the FCS, we got to take these small steps, getting better all the time. And we just have a locker room of guys who are embracing that right now. And, I expect them to take another step this week, and then another step, and keep moving along that path.
Bulldogs getting set to head out to Loretto, Pennsylvania. About a 7-8 hour trip out there. I know that the parents will be out there in full force. A lot of our parents, a lot of our alumni travel very well. Coach, for those of them that are, or those watching today that are going to watch from home on Saturday on NEC Front Row, what can they expect to watch on Saturday? What can they expect to see from these 2 teams?
Well, since everyone's making the trip out there, I thought you'd have some advice on how I'm supposed to do it. We're trying to navigate the path. It'll be our first trip for me out there. We're actually going to practice midway, so kind of break the trip up as far as getting to a practice site out west of here. But yeah, I think it's going to be 2 teams that really play hard, and you see that on film when you watch St. Francis, and I see it every day when I get to coach this group. So 2 teams playing really hard football at a very, very high level. So it'll be really fun, and for me, it'll be my first chance to go to St. Francis. So we'll navigate that as well.
Bulldogs in Red Flash this Saturday in Loretto, Pennsylvania. Kickoff is at noon. You can watch the game live on NEC Front Row. Tim and I will also be out there listening live on ON 1240 or onworldwide.com. Coach, thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys all next Monday here at Laura's Bar and Grill in Smithfield.